Welcome to the All Things Possible podcast with Christina Crowley. Here is Christina.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I am so glad you are here with me today. What I want to talk about today is resistance. It is still early in 2021, and we may be experiencing that right now. We all set goals for what we want to do for the new year, and it's still the new year. The end of January comes around, we're into early February, and that sometimes we tend to want to give up, or we've already given up on our New Year's resolutions or the goals that we have, me included. I'm a part of that. I have a lot of goals that I have set for this year for me, and I've stumbled. I am not perfect, but I've gotten back up on the horse and or on the wagon and started going forward again. And a lot of the reason that we do stumble is because of resistance. If you've heard my podcast in the past about resistance, you may know a little bit about it, or you may have read the book by Stephen Pressfield. And when Stephen Pressfield talks about resistance, what he says is to remember that resistance arises second. And when we want to work on our passion, when we want to create something new, because he talks about the war of art, that's his book. And it's when we get that little bit of, ooh, I'm scared. Something's a little bit out of our reach, but we really want it. And talking about just kind of going for it, it scares us a little bit. And that resistance is our ego, our mind saying, you can't do this, you're an imposter. He does use the example of the Spirit of St. Louis, the journey that Charles Lindbergh took in the early 20th century, and all of the flack he took from people and the flack he probably took from his own mind. And that is the same as us going forward in our new with our resolutions. For me, recently I've been starting a new podcast, and I pushed, and there was a lot of resistance within myself to get myself doing this. I was like, who am I to ask these people to be interviewed by me? And so I did. I pushed forward. I had all of those same things in the back of my mind going, you're not good enough. Who are you? Etc. And like many other people, I kept pushing through it. And I finally got a breakthrough. My first three guests said yes to me, like within days of each other. And it was exciting. And when I got to interviewing my second guest, it just kind of hit me that I am really doing this. I am really pushing forward. And I'm so glad that I have kept pushing forward. Because one of the big things I like to say is you never know what is right around the corner. And that's kind of my mantra for not giving up, for continuing to push forward even when it's hard. I don't feel like I'm worthy. And when I feel like I'm never going to be able to do this. Not giving up on myself is an important part of that. And so I was interviewing the second person and I was really nervous. And they said, "Why are you nervous?" And I guess nervous was the only word I could put on it. I really was very excited and happy and still in a state of bit of a disbelief. But I chose action over resistance. I took the step back and I asked myself, do I really want this? I did really want it. And I just had to push aside all my fears of being embarrassed, all my fears of people saying no to me, and just get past that resistance. Stop labeling myself uh, as, we do in many, many ways. But that was late last year. And so this year I have put into practice a everything I must do in life to be content with me kind of a practice. I call it a type of a mindfulness practice because I want to focus so I have a get up routine. When something feels like it's taking forever to arrive, I start to look through my daily why reminders. Why do I want this? And when I can't focus, I get up and exercise because those are my big forms of resistance. And keeping up action in 2021 with February on the horizon, with most of us all, listening to this in February, what I think we really have to remember is the opposite of fear is love. That is, if you realize that on the other side of your fear is love, you'll keep going. The love for yourself, the love for your dreams, the love for everything you want. Because if not now, when? If you don't reach out or start to take action now, when? Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And I think that's kind of part of our resistance. We're thinking it has to be perfect before it can start because everything's always going to be a bit messy. And that's one good thing to remember. All right. So I want to remind you to listen to my new podcast. It is called We as Citizens. It's new. It might be people you may know of. It might be people who you don't know. I have a new episode out every Tuesday. Look for it on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It's We as Citizens, and I am the host. I hope you'll be pleasantly surprised by some of my guests. You might think you know who they are, and some of you may be surprised by their humanity. They are like us. They're funny. They are kind, sensitive, good, thoughtful people. Okay, so thank you everyone for listening, and ta-ta for now.